Hi there, and welcome to the December tasting of the Cheese Lady subscription box. Today we have 4 cheeses to try with you, and I'd like to welcome my co-host, Hollie. Hi, Hollie.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good, thanks.
Are you excited?
Cheese, yeah. It's a December box. I'm wondering where the drinks are.
Good point. I think we'll need to upgrade it next time. But yes, today we have 4 cheeses that we are really excited to share with you and chat to you about. We do have a variety of textures and flavors and aromas, and I really hope you will enjoy them. So without further ado, shall we dive right in?
Let's do it.
Right, for the first cheese, we are going over to Italy, to the north of Italy, Piedmont. It's absolutely a gorgeous corner of the world of Italy. Have you been?
No, I haven't actually.
Totally recommend it. I've been there, and they have a fantastic cheese festival, a little tangent here, there every other year. So super gorgeous and delicious. Totally recommend. So this is from Piedmont, from Italy. This cheese is called Cossanella. I'm not even sure what that means. I think it's maybe just an invented name. But this cheese is made in Robbiola style.
Okay, and what does that mean?
So Robbiola essentially is a soft cheese from Italy, and they can be blended milks. So in this case, we have cow's milk and cow's cream.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, delicious. Yes,
sounds good already. I'm sold.
The reason why I'm keeping this one whole is because it has a tendency to ooze.
Yes, it's gooey.
It can run and goo everywhere. So as you can see on our little piece here, very glossy.
Yes.
Just very gorgeous. What else can I tell you about this cheese? It's made with thermized milk, which means gently pasteurized. So it's a compromise between raw milk and pasteurized milk and traditional rennet. On the outside, you will find this bright orange rind. It does have a little bit of kind of a dusting of white.
Yes.
So that's another type of mold growing on top of it. But the orange color in this case is not a washed rind. As you may know, those ones develop orange rinds. This is use of annatto, which is a colorant, a natural colorant from a shrub, so completely natural. You definitely can eat this rind, absolutely delicious and part of the experience. Shall we have a little smell? I think very gentle,
delicate.
very delicate. I actually smell the biscuit more than I smell the cheese.
It smells like biscuit more than it does cheese. It's not.
I mean, we can take it off the biscuit, but you can see what happens. Wow. Ooh, absolutely.
It's so glossy. I love that.
Absolutely amazing. So yeah, I think the USP of this cheese definitely is the gooiness factor here, as you can see. If you like a gooey cheese, this is the one. Let's go ahead and try it. I may have to go back to it later. What do you think?
I love the texture of it. It's really creamy. It's buttery almost.
Yes.
Softer on the inside than slightly, oh, not firm, but slightly firm towards the rind.
Absolutely.
And yeah, the rind just gives it a nice texture.
Yeah.
As well. And
it just kind of melts in your mouth because I got that center bit. It just kind of disappears into that fantastic silky symphony on your palate. Buttery, like you say. I think it's almost a little bit nutty and mushroomy. It has that sweetness. Yeah. And the rind does give it a different texture. So absolutely amazing cheese. Love it, love it, love it. In terms of enjoying it with wine, I think because it's so delicate, I would say with something quite light. And with this being a festive season, I'm thinking bubbles, as always. What do you think? Maybe white wine as well?
Yeah, white
perhaps
wine would work with
rosé. Yeah. I wouldn't go to maybe too zesty with a little bit of fruitiness. And yeah, we hope you enjoy it at home. Let us know. So for our second cheese, we're actually moving back to Scotland. And I wanted to do this cheese in December for a reason that I'm going to uncover in a few moments.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
No.
Not yet? Okay. So this cheese is actually very close to my heart because over 10 years ago now, I'm losing track. I used to make this cheese with this producer. So this is Einster from Fife, so it's just across the water from where we are here in the Lothian, and it's a Cheshire style cheese. What does that mean? So that basically means in traditional terms that the cheese would be made in a larger truckle, and its texture would be quite crumbly, but different to cheddar. You'll see kind of smaller crumble.
Yeah.
And on the palate and in the aroma, it's much fresher tasting. It's more kind of milky and zingy. So Cheshire, and this cheese is actually called Einster. It's named after the village of Anstruther over in Fife, and that's the short name for it. So the producer here is Jane Stewart. So I used to work with Jane, and she's very passionate about keeping things traditional. And I love that she's dedicated to making her cheeses with raw milk. Since I've left them, now they start making other cheeses as well, and they make St. Andrews cheddar, which is a lovely farmhouse cheddar. But this is their kind of flagship cheese, or kind of their original cheese. And shall we have a try?
I've beaten you to it.
Tell me what you think.
It's got this light tang to it. And yeah, the crumbly texture, obviously, you can really experience. So yeah, very kind of fresh and zesty. If you like very uncomplicated cheeses, but also I would call them honest cheeses. Yes.
So this is what it is. It's appropriate on a cheese board, but you can also have it for lunch. And here's another use I was gonna suggest for this cheese, is enjoying it with some Christmas cake.
Christmas cake, yes, that's a classic pairing, isn't it?
So it is quite a classic pairing for Wensleydale and fresh cheeses like that, which Cheshire style cheeses are very similar to. So if you have a slice of Einster with Christmas cake, that would be amazing. In terms of wines or other drinks, I mean, you can experiment, but I would probably go more towards whites. Reds might be slightly overwhelming for this cheese.
Yeah.
And maybe beers as well, and ciders.
Cider, yeah, would work.
So what do you think? What's your...
Yeah, I really like it. It's a really kind of everyday tasty cheese.
Yeah. I think it's a very British cheese.
Yes.
Very British cheese. And of course, washed rinds and gooey ones and blues are very exciting, but I think we also need to appreciate the heritage of these kinds of cheeses that are just keeping the traditions alive. So that's what Jane is doing with her cheese, Einster. And I didn't say in the beginning, it's made with raw milk and traditional rennet. So just in a very traditional kind of style. Okay, so on to our third cheese. And this is where I'm gonna get even more excited, because I have to be honest, it's one of my favorites.
It looks like a Christmas present ready to be unwrapped with that foil on top, doesn't it?
I'm just going to show it to camera. Look at that. That is beautiful. I mean, I don't like to play favorites with my babies, but if I had to make a list of top 10 to 20, it would definitely be there, right at the top. Appenzeller. So Appenzeller is a very traditional Alpine cheese. It has been made in Switzerland on the German side for over 700 years.
Oh.
Can you just fathom
years.
that?
Wow.
I just can't. A very traditional Alpine cheese. It comes in the wheel about 6 kilos, which is kind of small for Alpine cheeses.
Alpine cheeses, yeah.
Because normally they're like 40 kilos. But they do have a little bit of a secret ingredient to making this cheese.
Is this the washed rind?
Yes.
Or the brine wash that they
Yes.
make,
Yes. So it's washed on the outside during the maturation. It doesn't become necessarily a washed rind cheese, because at later stages it dries off a little bit on the rind. But they don't wash it with just salty water. They have a special brine.
Okay.
And this brine contains herbs, spices, and local wine. Was it just... there's local things in there. But the thing is, I don't know what's in the brine, because it's a secret.
It's a secret, yeah.
Only 2 people in the entire world know what's in the brine.
Wow.
That's how secret it is. And I just hope they have some sort of method of passing it on before those 2 people die.
but they've managed for 700 years, so they must have a system to that.
Yeah.
The thing about Appenzeller is there are different grades available. So, and it's all down to this color of the foil on the outside. So I hope I'll get this straight in my head. The silver ones, the ones with the silver on the top, are the youngest. I think they matured for about 3 to 4 months. Then we've got Surchois, which is the golden one, and that's 4 to 5 months. Then we've got the extra, which is the black foil on the top, and that's matured for over 6 months, which is amazing. So that's the cheese board quality cheese, right? We used to stock that one. And then I discovered this purple one called Edel Würzig. So Edel Würzig is matured for over 9 months. This is the creme de la creme of Appenzellers. You can see in the color of the cheese itself, it's like so intense and concentrated. And of course, when we start looking in even closer, it's that golden color. And of course, that tells us the cows are grass-fed, which is amazing. Not only it's flavorsome, it's also great in terms of health properties of the cheese. And of course, we'll notice the little
protein crystals.
Yeah. So if we want to have the best aroma, I would suggest breaking it under our nose. Oh, so nutty.
Yeah. It's nutty. I was getting a fruitiness from the rind as well.
Yeah. The rind is not very smelly at this stage because this is matured for over 9 months, so it's dried. But yeah, it definitely adds to the flavor, to the uniqueness of this cheese. I could just smell this cheese for hours.
I'd rather eat it.
How sad is that? Oh, totally. Let's try it. Shall we say it's toothsome?
It's toothsome, yeah. It's just, a nice bite to it. It's fruity, it's nutty, it's slight sweetness to it. It's everything, isn't it?
It just coats your palate and leaves this most incredible, complex and lingering flavor. For me, it's kind of more nutty, I think, at this stage, but it also has these notes of beef bouillon. Do you know what I'm referring to?
So real umami, savory, meaty.
Umami.
Flavor.
Yeah. Incredible cheese. Absolutely love it. I mean, it's so versatile. You could use it on the cheese board. You could use it for melting purposes, like a fondue or toast or something like that. Of course, it would just elevate the cooking exponentially because of its quality. And in terms of enjoying it with drinks, I think it's very versatile, but we do want to have quite a good body to our drink here. What would be your preference, do you think, in terms of wine?
Go for a little low-key Chardonnay or something with that. That would work
I like
well.
that.
Slight creaminess on the palate would work well with that.
Yes, yeah. Oaky, kind of vanilla notes. Yeah, that would be good. I think a red, especially in the winter, again, something oaky. I would go maybe less fruity, but more kind of oaky flavors. And a nice complex, maybe ale. With caramelly, nutty notes. So yeah, the world is your oyster here. You can experiment, but don't go with too light a drink because the cheese might just overwhelm it because of its complexity. So phenomenal cheese. I hope you agree with us. And shall we try our last one? So for the last cheese, we decided to kind of keep it classic and traditional, but with a slight twist. I still get amazed that not everybody in the world has tried this cheese yet, where I think it's a must. So the cheese I'm talking about is called Stichelton. And you may kind of perceive that there's a reference to Stilton there, which is the most iconic British blue cheese. So Stichelton is based on a Stilton recipe. They do follow that authentic way of making Stilton like it used to be made back in the day. So what they do is they make it very slowly, again, like back in the day. There is no rushing. They let the curd so cure and develop the flavors, and they leave it even overnight, and only in the morning when they're ready then start forming the truckles. And the key here is that this cheese, Stichelton, is made with raw milk. So like in the olden days.
Right, okay.
And with traditional rennet. All of those little things play into the flavor, into the texture, and into how the cheese is. I personally find that it will be a little bit less kind of predictable. It can vary through the year, and it's not always the same, but that's kind of part of enjoyment. You never know what it's going to be like, and in the summer it will be slightly different to when it is in the winter. So let's try this one.
So is the Stilton, is that pasteurized milk?
Stilton is made with pasteurized, and as far as I'm aware, all of the Stiltons are made with vegetarian rennet. I mean, which is very in demand, and it's great that vegetarian people can enjoy this kind of cheese. But this is more in the olden tradition. So similar to Stilton, it will be with a natural rind. So it's a truckle. Imagine 8 kilos of a cheese. And it has a natural rind, which you potentially can eat. Sometimes it can be a little bit sticky. The one we have is a little bit drier. Personally, I tend to cut off the rind on the blues. How do you feel about that?
I'm not a huge fan of the rinds on the blues.
It's earthy, let's be honest. This cheese sits in a cellar for a good 4 to 5 months to develop its flavor and texture. Therefore, it is earthy. But if you like earthy, absolutely eat the rind. It's not going to do you any harm. But it is crumbly.
It's crumbly. I've just dropped some, so it's crumbly.
We'll eat that later. Crumbly British style of blue cheese.
Good bit of bluing throughout, though, isn't there?
Absolutely. You can see here on the wedge, there's a decent amount of blue. But if I had to put this cheese and in comparison to all other blues on some sort of spectrum, I personally would say it's kind of in the middle.
Medium strength.
Medium strength, yeah. It has a good saltiness to it, as blues do. It has a bite, but it's not eye-watering. So it's not like Cabrales or Valdeon or Spanish blues, as they can be. So it has that dense creaminess on the palate.
I was going to say, whilst it's crumbly, it's creamy at the same time, isn't it?
Yes.
On the palate,
And it's got that sweetness of cow's milk. Sometimes I even pick up on like chocolatey notes. And that's what I love about this cheese. It changes throughout the year. It's really, really fascinating. I've had the pleasure of visiting the cheesemaker that in England, obviously, in that Stilton country. On the Welbeck estate, the estate is organic, so they have organic milk going into this cheese, but I don't think they qualify for everything to be called organic, but the milk is. And he was telling us about how they make this cheese, and that's what I picked up on. It has to be done slowly to really fully develop the flavor. And of course, then we went into the maturation cellars, and we had a chance to try truckles that were very new, and there was hardly any blue, and it's just not the same cheese. And then you get to understand the progression of how the flavor develops in a 4-month-old Stichelton versus a 5-month Stichelton. So I personally think the best ones tend to be around this time of the year, and that's why traditional this style of cheese was always a favorite at Christmas time. And speaking of Christmas time, do you know what I'm going to suggest to enjoy it with? Are
you going to suggest some Christmas pudding with that one?
You can, but I was thinking more a drink.
Oh, drinks, okay. Port and Stilton, classic recipe.
Yeah, so Stichelton with port would be amazing. So get your best port out for Christmas, get a slice of Stichelton, and it's just going to be spot on. I think you can also have it with red wines. So if you have a cheese board and all you're serving is red wine, that would work as well. But if you have like a sweeter red wine, like an Amarone or Ripasso, something like that, that would be nice.
Delicious.
Did you have a favorite today, Hollie?
I'm with you. It's got to be the Appenzeller. It's actually the first time I've tried the Cosanella as well, and I really enjoyed that. But yeah, I think if you forced me to choose,
I would never do such a thing. But yeah, thank you. I think they're all they have their own merits, don't they?
They do.
Absolutely. But Appenzeller kind of sets the standard for
Does
cheese
indeed.
making. But so we could say about Stichelton, it sets the standard for blue cheeses.
Yeah.
Because it's a quality, and Einster and Costanella. I mean, we love them all. I'm sorry. Please let us know in the comments if you had a favorite, what your thoughts were on these cheeses. We hope you enjoyed our tasting today together. We do hope to see you again at some point. I don't know if we'll be doing these tastings again in 2025. Please let us know if you'd like us to, and we'll be happy to oblige. And in the meantime, have a great festive season.